Good morning and welcome to Meet the Employer. We are with Jerome Emanuel today with Emanuel Industries in Good Apples, New York. He has come today to let us know exactly what his organization does, what they hire for, how you go around to apply to the positions that are available, and to give us a little more background on the types of positions available. So, Jerome, thanks so much for joining us today. We definitely appreciate it. And so I'm going to give you the floor and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my business is Emanuel Industries, doing business as Good Apples, New York, where we specialize in purchasing, refurbished computers and uh, essentially reselling them on multiple digital platforms. We sell nationwide, so there's a lot of especially during COVID, there's a lot of shipping, there's a lot of receiving, and we just happen to be in the computer business during a time where everybody needs a computer. Um, and then, originally the business was started um, for people that have a hard time finding a place in the workforce. So, we, wanted to create an organization that's not so attached to degrees as much as you are talent and ability and drive and things of that nature. Um, so I guess that's a snapshot. We do specialize in Apple products. We have a direct supply um, with Apple's number one refurbisher distributor. So we do purchase products directly from Apple. So if you have your MacBook Pro that you have that's a 2017 and you trade it in for a new one, that becomes available to us.
Okay, awesome. So not just computers, but you do other Apple equipment as well, like the watch and all that fun stuff.
iPads, yeah, I mean, um, we have availability, for pretty much anything that Apple does make. So yeah, phones and watches and iMacs, MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, um, pretty much all along the line.
Wonderful. So what types of positions do you hire for?
So there's a couple of different things that that we would hire for. I mean, one is internet marketing, and internet marketing is it's not as complex as people think that it is. It's basically if you're good on social media and things of that nature, then you'd be fine. Um, it's like maintaining a Facebook page, a business page, maintaining a Instagram page, maintaining the website, uh, and then integrating with all the different online selling platforms that there are, so that if a product sells on one platform, that it comes off of the other platforms, and creating this hub, and then doing social media boost and things like that. So there's one specific part there. The other part is we could always use technicians, and there's different levels of technicians depending on skill set. So a lot of our computer products, they come with the hard drives already wiped. So really, it's just a matter of installing an operating system. So that could take from front to back, that can take 15 to 20 minutes. But if you have one person doing it and you have 40 computers to do, it obviously takes a long time. So the longer that it takes to do it, the longer that it takes to actually make it available for sale. So for efficiency purposes, it's always good to have somebody that can even just do that. Uh, the more technical stuff, You know, you may have to replace a screen. Maybe the screen's broken and you have to replace a screen, or you have to replace a motherboard or things like that. But all things that can be taught. Um, you know, so they're, you know, they're all things that can be taught. Uh, and then shipping and receiving, you know, when things come in, we have a pretty specific process. Every computer or device that comes in is given a unique stock number, so to speak, so that we can track it, track how much time that it takes to get from the front door to online to out for delivery, uh, and those
Excuse
kind of things. So, and it's especially interesting now, you know, during COVID, because you know the need for devices has gone up, skyrocketed,
me.
um, and you know also the pre-owned market, the price has also skyrocketed, which is unfortunate. But it's you know there's very limited places, like even here locally. If you were going to look somewhere to buy a used computer, you know, or a pre-owned computer or pre-owned certified computer, you know, they don't sell that at Best Buy. They don't sell that at Walmart. They don't sell it at your
Right.
computer stores. I mean, so people go to, you know, eBay or Mercari, or, you know, sometimes they'll go to a pawn shop, or, you know, so some of those things, you know, so we were, you know, literally in the process of having a storefront in the city of Elmira right before COVID hit. Well, then COVID hit, and then they shut it down and open it back up and then shut it down again. Uh,
Yeah.
where we are, so
Several times in the last few months, I'm sure that has occurred, as we are currently experiencing right now as well.
so it's affected a lot of local jobs and small business and stuff like that. But the good thing is like some of the stuff that I would need can be done from home,
Right.
especially like the social media stuff. You know those kind of things can be done from home. Um, you know,
So, do you offer that as a remote option for individuals that you may hire?
yeah, yeah, you don't have to be where I am. You know, especially doing what we do, it could be just a matter of, okay, here's the items that we sold. This is what needs to go out today. It could be just a matter of just, you know, go home, go in your dining room, work office, wherever you are, and just package them up the way that, you know, the specific way that we package up. You know, put the labels on them, make sure that they get to the post office or UPS or FedEx, and
Sounds awesome that you would be able and willing to have somebody come in at that entry level, but actually teach them. I know you just as an individual as well, besides the employer, and just that kind of, if you will, mentorship with the working relationship to teach that, strong work ethic to teach, hey, this is only a beginning, learn this and we definitely could move forward from this point. Am I taking that right?
yeah. So you know, a lot of it is you know, creating not just the skill set, but you know, the mentality, the attitude, you know, like you said, the work ethic. You know, a lot of those things are very, very important to the success or failure of any business, and especially, you hear the saying where people say, you know, about New York City, and if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Um, I don't know if people in New York City can make it in Elmira. It's you know it's a little bit it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so it's being creative. You know, trying to find new ways to solve old problems, and in some cases, like now, trying to solve new problems, um, which is also very difficult, but also very needed.
Oh, very much needed in our area. I'm just going to interrupt you for a quick second, Jerome. Hi, Dan. Thanks for attending. Glad you're able to make it. we have Jerome Emanuel here with Emanuel Industries in Good Apples, New York. We were just talking about some of the positions that he has available. One of them is like an entry level IT clerk, some shipping and receiving. And I'm going to let Jerome just maybe reiterate just a little bit if you don't mind.
As far as what we would hire for,
Yes, please.
yeah. So the social media portion of it, making sure that our products are visible online, that our brand is visible online, that, our Facebook page is updated, our Instagram page is updated, our website is updated. Uh, and do some of those social media boosts, digital ads, things like that. Uh, then entry level technicians to just kind of either load operating systems, make sure that they're functioning the way that they're supposed to function, and then getting into more complex stuff where you actually have to do what I like to call surgery on a computer. So taking it apart, putting new pieces on, taking pieces off, those kind of things. Uh, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. The shipping and receiving, making sure stuff gets to the end destination from where it begins. So from getting in the door to getting to the customer, and obviously getting to the customer is the most important thing.
Absolutely. And I know right now you were just saying, computers being in such demand, and it is hard to locate them locally, like you said, in a refurbished manner, because we're in COVID, a lot of unemployment, very high unemployment rate. Financially, people are pretty strapped
Yep.
and just trying to maneuver through getting everything they need for themselves and their kids, with the online schooling as well. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to come here today. Um, Dan, did you have any questions that you may want to ask that you feel you might not have got just yet? You can type in the chat or you can unmute yourself. It's up to you.
Good afternoon, Jerome. I'm Dan Spencer. I was just trying to maybe find out the logistics, like where it would be.
So that's a good question. So, right now, with Elmira kind of being in that orange zone, um, there are possibilities where you could work out of your home. Um, depending on what your specific skill set is. But there are those options uh, of working out of the home.
Awesome. Fantastic. I do, again, I appreciate you coming on today and sharing everything. Um, okay, one of the questions we have are what would the hours be that you would require for the positions?
Um, it's tough right now um, because people are homeschooling, people have kids. A lot of times, being that my wife works in the school district, I have to be the homeschool parent and run a business. So I work when it's convenient. So
So
um,
you have flexible hours of when it's not set Monday through Friday to 4:30. You could do it on Monday and Tuesday, 6 to 10 at night, or maybe 8 to whatever, as long as um, the end result's the same. You are a little lenient as far as being
yeah, I
forced
mean,
into those hours.
at the end of the day, the internet doesn't shut off.
Correct.
So it's not uncommon that we'll get orders from customers at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then the other thing is that it's being that that we sell nationwide. Um, 11 o'clock at night here is 8 o'clock at night in California.
Right.
Uh, and we do send a lot of business to California. So it's the time. the time perspective when you're thinking of in terms of, we're so used to that 9 to 5, like that, the regular, the straight 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, and you take your hour lunch and two 15-minute breaks. And, that's just not the world that I live in.
Right.
Um, my world is like, okay, all this needs to be done by tomorrow. Regardless if it's done at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning, it all needs to be done. And then we move on to the next day. So, um, but it's just like anything else. Your success tomorrow is determined on the work that you do today. Um, so it's just a matter of, you know, what kind of obstacles that you have that, require there to be some different times and what we could work with essentially.
Let me ask you a quick question. When you were talking about your shipping and receiving piece of it. So this is just an assumption that I've made over our conversation. If you're working remote, you have this product in hand, you've completed surgery on it or whatever the necessary requirements is for that piece of equipment, then that individual who you have employed would ship it from like their house and you would have labor, or would they need to come to you to get what they need to have it out? I mean, I know it's getting a little more in depth, but I think that would maybe clarify a little bit because if you're working remote, what is going to be the access to what you need them to have completed.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, all the product comes right. Well, right now, because of the situation, all of the product comes directly to my office. Here at my home, which fortunately I
Excuse
have
me.
a dedicated space with a separate entry. Um,
Okay.
within the house. I didn't know that I was going to need it for business when I bought the house, but that's essentially what the previous owner of my house used it for, was to run their business.
Oh, nice.
So it actually just kind of works out. But yeah, so it basically would just be, okay, here's the boxes, here's the label, here's your packaging tape. Like this is all the stuff that needs to go out. This is stuff that needs to get together. Like you might have to, clean down the systems, make sure they're clean. Which you got to think of it in terms of what the customer sees. So from the business perspective, we get excited when we sell something. The customer gets excited when they receive it. So our level of excitement is like, great, we got, we got a sale, we got paid. The customers, their heightened excitement is, okay, did it get to me as fast as it humanly possibly could? It's one thing that's very important, is to make sure that it arrives quickly. Then the packaging. Does the packaging look professional, or does it look like you stuffed a whole bunch of Walmart bags inside of it and secured it that way? So the presentation of how it looks when you open it, and then looking at the actual product. Is it as clean as it could be? Are there fingerprint smudges on the screen? Is there something that, if it's dirty, could it have been cleaned? When the customer receives it, they look at it and, when you turn it on, does it do what it needs to do? Does it perform the way that it's advertised that it performs? Um, and we're very descriptive on each particular unit. So because they're not brand new, if they have scratches, it's described as having scratches. If there's a ding or a dent or whatever the case is, we have to let our consumers know exactly what to expect when they see that package. So, um, it's basically, to put it in terms of, how would you want to receive something that you purchased online, and then it's consistency. So being able to build that consistency. So like one of the platforms that we use is Mercari, and we have a 5-star rating on Mercari with over a couple of hundred reviews. that are all, very good. Um, so that's, kind of what we look for is, it's speed, efficiency. Does it look the way it's supposed to look? So like that. It's just um, once you get the hang of that, then it's, then it becomes easier.
Jerome, we have another question. It says, as far as working remote, what kind of technology requirement is needed? And does the company assist with cost of internet equipment if needed to get someone up and running just starting out working remote?
Well, in order to work remote, you would have to have internet access. Um, as far as equipment that you need, I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, we could provide a desktop or a laptop or something like that, which we would. The other thing is you're literally working on computers, so so there's that piece of it. But yeah, I mean, just for some of that stuff, we do have a lot of access to technology to make sure that things are set up, and you would need access to our main page on our like website to be able to access the back end information and
Right.
some of those things. Um, so yeah, you would certainly need that, but the only thing that you would absolutely need to have would be internet access.
Um, so if somebody were to want to get in touch with you, ask you more information about the positions and to apply, how would they go about that?
Just as of right now, there's an email, so it's info at emmanuelindustries.com. It's also on the website, which is goodapplesny.com.
What
And
was the second one?
the website has a link as well.
Okay.
And
So it's info at emanuelindustries.com.
yep, and or you can go to the website, which is goodapplesny.com, and you can send an email that way as well. It all comes to me.
Okay. So I just put both of those links in the chat box. So if anybody would like to copy them or write them down, you'll have the access for that as well. So I put the info at emmanuelindustries.com and goodapplesnewyork.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me.
And
Awesome.
the goodapplesnewyork.com site is kind of like it's a good idea. It's a good way to just kind of see what it is that we do. Right now our inventory is low, as you would imagine, just because things just move. They move so quickly.
Right.
From the time that we actually get a computer ready to go and put it on a site that um, selling platform, it's sold within 2 hours.
Wow.
So,
Amazing turnaround.
which makes, well, yes and no. It makes it very difficult when you're trying to update multiple systems. So, if you put something on, let's say like an eBay, or put something on a Mercari, and then also put it on your website, and that's time consuming.
It
Uh,
is very.
so it's you basically you take pictures, right? So you're taking 10 to 15 pictures of every item that you're selling, and then you're putting those pictures up on the platform, and then you're putting in the descriptions for each one. And I've seen it to where a point where I've put something up on let's say Mercari, and by the time I got it listed on the website, it was already sold on Mercari. So that's how quickly things kind of move. So that's where having things ready and available and getting them up, getting them out, time in a right time, proper time, um, and yeah. So
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Does anybody else have any questions for Jerome? Dan, I saw you started typing. Wasn't sure if you were going to ask a question or not.
I was just gonna say thank you for his time and all the wonderful answers he was given, and appreciate you being on the phone call for us this morning.
Great. Thank you, Dan.
It's my pleasure, Dan. Thank you. And the other thing is that just to kind of reiterate, you know, every every business has an obligation to community, and not every business fulfills that obligation to community. But we actually were founded on that obligation. I mean, that's why we do this, is really to help people. Through COVID, I'd say probably it's not something that I advertise, but I'd say between 25 and 30% of our products we've actually given away, uh, at no cost whatsoever. Because there's one thing to say, hey, we can make a lot of money because people need this stuff. And it's another thing to say, well, people are out of work. People are homeschooling their kids. There are, especially in this area where, our largest employers are the food and service industry. A lot of them are shut down or have been shut down for long periods of time. So it's, people are counting pennies, and not everybody has the ability to say that, okay, well, I can work from home, or I have a job, I have this, I don't have kids. I mean, there's circumstances out there where people just need it.
Yep.
And we give as we can, depending on situations. But uh, that obligation to community is very important. So as an employer, I look for people that care about the community that they live in, about not just making themselves a little better, but also helping people around them become better as well. So that's an important thing for me, is that commitment, to not just themselves and their families, but the community around them.
Right. Yeah, I think that's where, between your organization and ours, where we align very closely, because our goals are very much the same, on top of, helping individuals to become self-sufficient, upgrade their skill sets, whatever the case may be, that we do impact and bring in the community and community members on top of that employment and, business. So it all goes hand in hand. So for sure. And I, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Of course.
If nobody has any more questions for Jerome, we can stop recording, and I will talk with you in just a moment. But thank you so very much for coming. It is definitely appreciated.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.